Hello and welcome everyone to the CSRUniverse Leaders Talk segment, the place where we invite experts to share their insights on a broad range of issues related to development and sustainability. Joining us today is Pratish Koparkar, Chief Human Resource Officer at the Epsilon Group. He comes with 25 years of experience in human resources, spanning different geographies, cultures, and cross-functional groups. At Epsilon, he's responsible for developing the people and culture strategy with a focus on design, processes, and compliance. He's here with us to discuss about Epsilon Carbon's CSR and sustainability initiatives. Our focus is their recent collaboration with Motorvolt Mobility to offer sustainable mobility solutions to their employees. Under this scheme, electric bikes from Motorvolt will be available at subsidized prices to over 600 employees and their families. With this partnership, the group aims to offset approximately 945 million metric tons of carbon emissions over the next 5 years. So, Mr. Koparkar, it's wonderful to have you with us today. So,
Thanks, Shweta. Thanks for inviting me.
sure. So let's start. As I said, we'd like to begin with your collaboration with Motorvolt Mobility. So first of all, how did this idea come up of subsidizing electric bikes? How did you conceive this idea, and how did you choose Motorvolt to partner with?
As a responsible organization which really focuses on sustainability, it is our endeavor, to always look at options in terms of reducing the carbon emissions. So, from that perspective, we were looking at options, and especially in the area of employee transportation. And while looking at various options, we came up with Motorvolt. We discussed with them, and finally, Epsilon actually has partnered with Motorvolt Mobility to provide sustainable solutions for employees, which are based at Vijayanagar. That's where our manufacturing facility is.
Mhm.
And then we do believe that it will foster a greener and more efficient commuting ecosystem within the organization. It's our first collaboration as such, in this space of green mobility, and then we are very pleased with that.
How are the employees responding to it? How has their response been?
To be honest, when we started this initiative, we weren't very sure about it. Okay, we thought, since this is our first initiative, we did effort in terms of orienting employees as to why are we really doing it, what are our targets in terms of, reduction of carbon emissions, etc. And if you look at our sustainability goals, also it talks about working on various initiatives which will help all sorts of sustainability goals, and which will meet the sustainability goals over a longer period of time. So from that perspective, we conducted quite a lot of focus group discussions, focus group sessions at our manufacturing site to orient the employees with respect to our objectives as far as this particular initiative is concerned, create that sort of orientation in them, to inform them, and after doing that, then we launched this initiative, and then we invited Motorworld to display their bikes, etc. And I think we have received quite a reasonable good response from the employees. And then that's what I would say.
Okay. What do they, could you tell us a little more about the scheme exactly? What kind of subsidies, how are you offering it to them? What do
Yeah.
they stand to gain? Because of course, from a sustainability perspective, it's a wonderful move, but what do the employees gain from this?
Yeah, and I think that's what employees really look forward to, right? I mean, sustainability is one of the objectives, but you have many products available in the market. So, what is
Mhm.
there for the employees per se? And we thought about it, and what we came up with a subsidized scheme or the incentive scheme for the employees, wherein we offered subsidy from the organization if at all they go for different types of work. So there are three types of options available to them.
Mhm.
One is the e-cycles, e-mopeds, and e-scooter. So on all these three options which are available with Motorvolt, we give subsidy on behalf of the organization. and the subsidy actually differed from model to model. And then it started right from 7,000, I think 6,500 to around 8,000 rupees.
Okay.
And that's the sort of subsidy which we gave.
Okay. No, I hope it spans out well and more employees avail this scheme.
Yeah.
There's another, yeah, please
Yeah,
continue.
I think the way we are looking at it is that we have made the beginning here at this point of time,
Right.
and we will continue this initiatives even going forward. To expect that majority of the employees will participate in this scheme is little far fetched, because it takes time for employees also to understand the importance and the objectives behind this type of initiatives. But we are quite sure we are not looking at something which is very short term. It's a commitment over a longer period of time, and this is
So
just the
this
beginning.
scheme would be available for a specific period of time, or is it available for a long span?
No, so we have kept it open initially right now for a period of 1.5 months or so. Uh,
Okay.
but we are flexible. I mean, depending upon the response of the employees, we will take a call.
Okay. About mobility, there are many organizations that are switching to electric cars for their fleets, cabs and all. So have you taken any such steps at Epsilon?
Uh, not immediately, but to be honest with you, we have discussed and deliberated this at length in the organization. We actually were very keen to introduce again a similar subsidized scheme for all our employees for electric vehicles, where basically the
Mhm.
four-wheelers. But one of the feedback which we received from the employees is that giving subsidy is perfectly fine, but what about the infrastructure as far as charging, etc., is
Right.
concerned? So those are the kind of issues which we have currently, not only in Epsilon. I'm saying as a nation itself. I
Yes,
think
yes.
the charging infrastructure is yet to be developed, and that's a real bottleneck at this point of time. But we are actually very keen to go ahead with this subsidized scheme for even electric vehicles for four-wheelers for all our employees. But we just then decided that we will probably take a pause for the moment. Maybe another 5-6 months or for a year or so, till this infrastructure really matures in the organization in the country, and then we will go ahead with that.
Makes sense. Makes sense. You just mentioned about your sustainability goals. Like the government has a net zero target of 2070. So
Correct.
how is your organization aligning with it? What are the initiatives that you have taken in that direction?
No, and I think many initiatives at an organizational level.
Mm-hmm.
And if I talk about some of the things which we are doing, especially at our plant, and we have taken that as organizational objectives. So we are doing quite a lot of work in terms of air emissions, on climate change, on product stewardship, on circularity, and these are some of the initiatives which we are actually taking. So if I talk about air emissions, I think monitoring and managing emissions are critical to our strategy, and I think that's something which we are very concerned about. Climate change. I think as an organization, we are deeply committed to the sustainability and building and managing a responsible supply chain in the organization. We are investing in circular solutions and low carbon technologies to actually actively reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. So those are the type of initiatives which we are taking as far as climate change is concerned. Product stewardship, again, our focus is mainly on minimizing material consumption, energy usage, and reliance on virgin, natural resources. So those are the type of things which we are doing. Circularity, actually, our business model itself is as far as the sustainable strategy is concerned, is firmly built on the principles of circularity. Okay,
Right.
which drives us to take actions that aim to reduce environmental impact, and enhance our stewardship efforts. So ECPL, you will be very surprised to know that ECPL is the world's only company with 100% backward integration. And I
Okay.
think that's the kind of circularity which we are talking about. So these are some of the things which we are doing at an organizational level.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to know. You mentioned, maintaining a supply chain, that is green probably. So that comes under, say, scope three emissions. Could you
Right.
explain with an example how are you doing that? Because that's something where companies face a lot of challenges.
Yeah. So actually, our product innovation and stewardship are central to our growth. Our products are actually designed to help, our customers run a sustainable business and align with national and global initiative towards a net zero future. And I
Hmm.
think so. It's basically on two things about the our products, which are designed to help our customers, and it's aligned with the net zero future, which are the global targets as such.
Okay, talking about sustainability, but we also wanted to know about CSR initiatives in this interview. So
Correct.
we'd like to, you can begin with the focus areas basically, and then we can move on to the projects that you have. Do you have any defined focus areas at Epsilon in India?
Yeah, so actually, the focus areas which we have, and these are the themes actually which we have defined, which we will focus as far as the CSR initiatives are
Mm-hmm.
concerned. Focus is on climate change, on environment, and reducing the carbon emissions. Actually, so these are the three
Okay.
themes which we have taken.
Okay.
We are identifying number of initiatives. It will be little premature for me to specify any particular initiative as such, because all these three areas we are actively working on with many agencies in terms of identifying the projects where we can really focus going forward. But as an organization, these are the three areas which we have identified, which will focus as far as our all CSR programs are concerned going forward.
So have you partnered with any organization as of now? I mean, if you haven't launched any initiatives, are you looking at partners right now?
We are looking at partners in all these three areas, and I can tell
Mm-hmm.
you in terms of and another aspect, climate change, environment, and even water conservation is one of the areas which we have
Okay.
taken. And then in terms of water conservation, we are working with some agencies in terms of either rainwater harvesting or in terms of providing purified water to the direct impact zones in our nearby manufacturing locations. So I think those are the type of initiatives which we are talking about. We are actually in a process of identifying agencies which will help us in terms of running these programs at various
Right.
DIZs near our manufacturing units.
Okay. So you're in a very initial phase of probably launching your initiatives.
I won't say
So,
initial phase. We over the past 4 to 5 years, we have worked on many of the CSR initiatives. But what we realize is that, and we focused on United Nations, that program.
SDGs and all. Right.
Yeah. We focused on all of that in the initial 3 to 4 years. We,
Okay.
we looked at many things: healthcare, education, infrastructure near our DIZ villages in the manufacturing near our manufacturing
Mm-hmm.
locations. What we realize is that as an organization, when you focus on these areas, there is a ceiling which you hit at some point of time, because beyond that, then you can't really do it. And therefore, now this year onward, we have decided that we will focus on more broader areas, which will environment, climate change, water conservation, which are more long-term initiatives. They're
Right.
not short-term ones. If you look at things like healthcare, education, infrastructure, these are very short-term ones. You invest, you
These are very
invest.
project based, right?
Absolutely,
Input
very
based.
project
Right.
based, invest money, and then that's about it. The program runs for 6 months or 8 months, and that's about it. Then the question arises as to who will maintain that and all of that. So, okay, so we have gone through that.
Okay.
So we have learned it the hard way that probably we need to focus on little more longer term impact projects.
Actually, we ask this to almost everyone we interview, the challenges that they face. So you already described them. But
Yeah.
basically, in these 4 5 years, that in the past 4 5 years that you're talking about, could you give us some examples, the kind of initiatives that you did launch, and what kind of, what were the disappointments you can say, or the challenges? Just could you give an example?
If I look at it last 3 to 4 years, the kind of
Mm-hmm.
initiatives we have done, we have already touched roughly 4 lakh plus lives, in terms of our various programs
Okay.
in CSR. If I give you an example of the education in the education sector, the kind of work which we have done, and we have done quite a lot of work in the
Mhm.
PIZ villages of Antapur, Kurtini, which is near our manufacturing site in
Manufacturing plant,
Nagar.
right?
In the education sector, if you go to these villages, you will find that there are a lot of Anganwadis and primary schools
Mhm.
which are there. We have actually focused in terms of infrastructure as far as the schools is concerned,
Right.
and we have also provided them the latest what do you say a smart education sort of facilities to the schools. So these are the type of things which we have done. In terms of healthcare, also the primary healthcare centers, we have focused a lot in terms of upgrading their facilities, giving them equipments for conducting the test, etc. Which they do in the respective primary healthcare centers. So I think those are the things which we have done over the past 4 to 5 years.
So I think these are fairly good initiatives. So why did you decide? I mean, of course, you are planning to switch to climate change and more broader themes. But I just want an answer from you that despite having good initiatives in education and healthcare, what made you make the switch to different themes?
I think instead of saying, making a change from here to climate change, I think what we have said is that we will try to divide our attention between these activities as well as long term. So we are trying to focus
Right.
more on
Okay.
short term as well as long term. We have decided that as far as our CSR overall group funding is concerned, 30% we will still continue to provide as far as these initiatives is concerned,
Right.
and around 50 to 60% we will spend the funding as far as the long term initiatives
Long
are
term.
concerned. And I think that's the way we are trying to really look at.
No, that's absolutely. I think it's the right way to go
So basically,
because
the idea is that you sustain whatever you have
you are
done,
doing.
and at the same time, you focus on longer term, more impact projects. I think the whole idea is that as an organization, we want to focus on areas which will create more impact to the community as such. And I think that's the whole idea behind it.
I'm so glad you were so candid about it because many times people do talk about initiatives and they don't want to mention whatever the challenges are or whatever their change of plans are. And I think it's a very logical thing to do, that
Correct.
you revisit what you're doing and you make course corrections or you broaden your perspective.
Correct.
So that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, yes, coming to human resources, because you are the group CHRO, we these days, actually, that's a wrong way to put it. But in the current times, DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, this is gaining a lot of prominence, and rightfully so. So, in your career, what I would like to know, what have you observed in Indian organizations? What is the state of DEI, and currently, how are you incorporating these principles at Epsilon?
I do firmly believe that diversity is given, but inclusion is a choice. Okay, and I think that is what you will basically see in the Indian organizations as well. Now, when you talk about diversity, depends upon how you really look at it. Okay, over a period of time, most of the organizations have looked at diversity only from gender perspective, and that's a very critical area to look at anyway. But diversity has another angles also. It's about diversity of thought, diversity of experience. So I think we are looking at it in a more holistic manner.
Mhm.
So it's not only gender; it's about thought, it's about experience. People from different religions, etc., etc. Just to give you some examples and whatever I have seen in the organizations, I think they mainly focus on the gender diversity. That's a very obvious one.
Mhm.
Rightly so from Indian perspective, because the percentage of female population in the Indian workforce itself was low. But I think you have seen over a period of time in last 5 to 6 years that that percentage has significantly improved
Yes,
now.
it's growing.
And
Yes.
then, but yeah, still there is a long way to go. If I speak now as far as Epsilon is concerned, and I'll tell you one thing. I mean, this is one of the trends you will find in the manufacturing industry and especially in the chemical industry. The percentage of female population in the workforce is very, very low because
Hmm.
of various obvious reasons. One is that, normally the manufacturing plant locations are very remote. That's number one.
Hmm.
There is, in terms of, the kind of work which is expected to do at a manufacturing site, again, is very, very different, or I would say there is a hardship as far as that work is concerned. Therefore, you don't find participation of females more into chemical industry and manufacturing industry. Things are slowly changing, but still long way to go. If I speak about Epsilon, we were at around 8%, 8.5% around 2 to 3 years back. I'm
Okay.
very glad and happy to say that today we are at 11%. Okay,
Okay.
so we have improved significantly, and
Yes.
I think it's our very conscious effort to do that, because we do believe that having a gender diversity really adds value to the organization. You get different perspectives, etc., and I think that's what is required in any organization. Uh, in addition to that, as I said, it's also about diversity of thoughts. It's also about diversity of experience, and I think consciously as an organization we are making effort in that direction also. What I mean by diversity of thought is that, uh, as a functional head, if I try to hire people with similar sort of backgrounds and those who match my wavelength, I think you will only get people who will be normally say yes to whatever you say. You need different perspective, you need divergent views, you need a different thought process in the organization, you need out of box thinking. For that you need people from different experience and different thought process as such.
Right.
And I think, again, this is a conscious effort which we are making in the organization, to get somebody who will complement your skill set. Yeah. So I think that's the kind of thing which we are really looking at.
So are there any steps that you've taken or any strategies that have worked in, getting more diverse people on board or getting more women for that matter? Because you've seen a very good increase in your women employees. So,
Yeah, so I think, as far as gender diversity is concerned, very, very concerted efforts which we have made in that direction,
okay.
in the sense that, certain positions in the certain job roles in the organization, we identified that these are the roles which are probably better suited or better occupied by female staff only. Okay, and we
Okay.
had to do that because we realized that, in certain areas, the percentage of female population is extremely, extremely low.
Hmm.
So, we took those actually, the targets as such or objectives as such, that this is where we will focus on. And then we got a good success, in terms of hiring our female colleagues in those particular roles. So it was a very conscious effort on our part.
Okay. Now, I've almost covered all the points I wanted to discuss with you, but there's one additional point I think that wasn't mentioned in the points that we had shared with you earlier.
Okay.
Are there any recommendations or suggestions that you have for in the social space I'm talking about, that you would like to share with the NGOs, your implementation partners or policymakers? Anything that they can do or any changes that they can make which probably help, elevate the impact of social projects?
And I will be very candid as far as my
Yes,
experience so
yes,
far.
I'm happy about that. Please.
My experience of working with NGOs or other partners in this space, I think this space is getting very commercialized, to be very honest. Okay, I think with the government's intervention that you need to have a specific percentage of your profit
Mm-hmm.
which will go into CSR. I think there are many. It has become a big industry now, and that
Right.
really pains me. If we are really talking about doing something genuinely for the betterment of the community, then the approach has to be a little different. I mean, if there is a heavy commercial angle involved in that, it loses its focus and it loses its genuineness in terms of serving the community. So I think that would be my only suggestion to all the partners and the NGOs, that uh, one has to look beyond that. Okay, we are in such a sector as far as corporate social responsibility is concerned, that if we are true to ourselves, and if we are genuine in terms of our commitment towards betterment of society, we will be able to do a much better job. It's not only about, since we have a specific funds to invest, that we do some things every year. I think we need to overcome that, and we need to start doing things more genuinely.
I agree with you because I think when it becomes, official, or when it becomes, when it comes as a regulation, it
Correct.
becomes very straitjacketed, and the
Absolutely.
meaning in it, as you said, the genuineness is lost. But
Yeah.
do you think if such a regulation was not there, most of the businesses would be engaging in meaningful social activities?
No, no. So I'm definitely not saying that. So the regulation, I think, is important. It has at least given a focus on in the organizations to start investing in terms of betterment of community. But I think the way we look at this initiative needs to be different. That's what I'm saying. So
Hmm.
actually, it is also on the part of the organizations also, as to how do they really want to focus on these initiatives. Many organizations only do this as a tick mark activity
Right,
because there is
right.
no choice. Yeah.
Hmm.
And many partners also do it just because they want to do it. They run it as a business. So I'm saying the onus is on both, and therefore the intent has to be clear. The intent has to be that we are doing it for the betterment of community. Then only you will be able to do the good job. So actually, the onus is on both the organizations as well as your implementing partners as well.
Well, we're at the end of the interview, and thank you for sharing your views so candidly, so honestly. And if there's anything you want to add in the end, if there's any message that you would like to share with people who would be watching this interview later, please go ahead. We'd be happy to
Uh,
have your last words.
Thank you for giving this opportunity. It was very wonderful to interact with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pratishi. Thank you
Thanks a
so
lot.
much.
Thanks.